Hi, I'm Carla Butorac and welcome to Behavior Communicates. I told you last week that I had some information about sexuality as it relates to people on the autism spectrum. If you are an instructor or a family member of a secondary student or young adult no longer in school who has ASD, you need to know about some information that I just found out about during a conference from a well-respected psychologist, Dr. Julie Steck. She sees a significant number of young people on the autism spectrum in her practice, and she has done some extensive research on the topic of sexuality for people with autism. In both her practice and in reviewing the research, she has discovered a very concerning fact. In the absence of open and ongoing conversations on the topic of sexuality with parents, counselors, and other important adults in their lives, our young people with ASD are turning to the internet for information. Unfortunately, according to Dr. Steck's findings, these young people are finding their information in chat rooms that are often associated with people discussing alternative sexual topics that may not be appropriate for our students or young adults. Dr. Steck went on to say that a significant number of young people on the spectrum are also turning to pornography sites for information. Those of us who have our own children know that discussions of sexuality is a difficult and often awkward topic to approach. For this very reason, I began discussions with my own children at age 8 so that I could establish this topic at a young age as somewhat common and open. With the help of the books Where Did I Come From and What's Happening to Me, I opened up conversations about sexuality and answered questions easier than I would have been able to had I waited a few more years. I found out something astonishing to me when one of my daughters was in a human sexuality class in college. Out of a class of at least 20 students, she was the only one who had heard about sexual information from a parent. Everyone else found out their first information about sex from others, none of them an adult, which means that the information they got may not have been quite accurate. My point here is if the topic of sex is difficult and often avoided by parents of neurotypical kids, even parents of college-bound students, what kinds of discussions by parents or other responsible adults do you imagine are going to go on with children on the autism spectrum? You may have heard me say on more than one occasion, they are children first. Their disability is secondary to that fact. Our children on the autism spectrum are sexual beings just like everyone else, and just because they don't enjoy relationships with others in the same way that we do doesn't mean that they are not interested in their own sexuality. Knowing that this population is turning to the internet for answers, we need to worry about who they are communicating with in the chat rooms, what kinds of discussions they're having with strangers. Are they getting the correct information, and are they at risk from predators? The same things we worry about with our children who don't have a disability, right? We also need to be concerned at the things that our children with ASD may be seeing on sites that post pornographic content, and then how those images may be interpreted by someone on the autism spectrum. To be honest, this concept never even occurred to me to be a concern for our students. I just never thought about it. Now that I know, this is frightening. I can see that this information needs to be shared if we want to protect and inform our young people on the spectrum. Now for some solutions. Encouraging parents of a child with ASD to start these discussions about sexuality with their children and give them resources and a guide to do so is what we can do. We have a book in our autism library called Sexuality and Relationship Education for Children and Adolescents with Autism Spectrum Disorders. It's a professional guide to understanding, preventing, and responding to inappropriate behaviors, and it's by Davida Hartman. The topics include things like teaching tools and recommendations, working with parents, teaching body parts, puberty, hygiene, safety skills, sexual health, and more. It's a great resource to have either in your schools or your home. Ms. Hartman also has 2 other books called The Growing Up Books for Boys, What Boys on the Autism Spectrum Need to Know, and The Growing Up Book for Girls, What Girls on the Autism Spectrum Need to Know. These would be probably similar to the books that I shared with my own children, only designed especially for the child on the autism spectrum. There are more books on this topic that I'm posted on my blog that you can check out there. Parents may want this topic discussed in social skills classes at the secondary level as well, and perhaps involve both parents and educators in this. There are options. Now is the time to get started with what works best for you, your family, or your students. I'm hoping today's video gives you some information that will make you not only aware of this challenging topic of sexuality and our children with disabilities, but also give you some solutions to help you keep your students or your children safe. Thank you so much for joining me here at Behavior Communicates. Just remember, the more we know about how to help the child or the student we love, the better quality of life they will have. If you like this video and you want to be in the know, sign up for Behavior Communicates. You'll automatically get my weekly video and blog, plus some other resources that I only share with my subscribers. Please like this video, leave a comment below, and share it with all of your parents, your teachers, your friends, and your coworkers on Facebook, Twitter, and all your other social media. You take care, and I'll see you next time.